yes, I don't have any makeup on today, and I don't really care because I just got back from school, and as you can tell, I'm a little stuffy. I just keep getting sick. I don't know what's going on. Last week I had like something wrong with my stomach. This week it's like all my like, it's probably just allergies because the seasons are changing. But I don't know what's going on, so I'm gonna try to get through this video without sniffling, coughing, choking, because my throat is a little dry, and whatever else you do when you're sick, so yeah. Secondly, I have actually been a guest host, host, storyteller person, on Astronauts 1 YouTube channel. So after you finish watching this video, make sure to click the link down below in the description box and head over to Astronauts Wanted channel because I am on their show called #Blessed. I've been on the last few episodes. I'm going to be on the next few as well. And what it is we talk about our fails and embarrassing moments. And yeah, last Monday, or this like past Monday, oh man, that was one of my most embarrassing moments like ever. Let's just say it has something to do with sweat and tissue. Yeah. And then I just discovered Candace on YouTube, and she has a story on that. Episode 2 is hilarious. So y'all definitely go and check it out and subscribe to them so you can see all the new videos, and you can check out all their other shows like Friday Night Likes. Ooh, hear that voice crack? I already blew it with my voice crack. Anyway, check them out because I know you guys are going to love it and y'all are gonna die. Okay, not die laughing, so I don't want y'all to die, but y'all will laugh really hard. So anyway, what this video is actually about Scream Queens. You guys seem to really like the first video that I made recapping the premiere episode of Scream Queens, and a lot of y'all have been asking me to continue doing so. I wanted to do it last week, but like I said before, my stomach was really hurting last week, and I didn't have time on top of school, and then I was sitting there like in the bathroom like eh. So anyway, yeah, we're back. We're back. So this episode starts off with the Chanels. They are talking about this guy named Cliff Wu, who is a party planner, and he party planned Chanel number 1 Sweet 16. She said that they set the house on fire, and then the firemen came, but the firemen that came were strippers, and they put the fire out with some champagne, and then they partied all. That sounds like a fun party, but I'm thinking like Sweet 16, dang. I just thought you just got a car and danced all night at Sweet 16 parties. Of course Chanel has to overdo it. So Cliff Wu comes and he's talking about Chanel's pumpkin patch concert / corn maze party thing that's gonna happen on Halloween to benefit black hairy tongue disease or whatever that is. Is that really a thing? I should have googled it, but she's just trying to outdo Zayday. All the other Chanels were required to book somebody for her party, like some kind of special artist, and they got Maroon 5, they got Fergie, but Chanel number 5 couldn't get Led Zeppelin because somebody died, and yeah, obviously you can't like bring someone, well maybe in Scream Queens you could bring somebody back from the dead, but yeah, so Chanel number 1 got really mad at her, and it was crazy. So they move on to talk about what they're going to wear that night in their costumes, and Chanel says that all the Chanels are going to dress up as the wives of fallen presidents. Chanel tells Chanel number 5 that she has to be married to Lincoln, which is of course Abraham Lincoln's like wife or old wife or whatever, and then Chanel number 5 is like really mad. She's like, why do I have to be married to Lincoln? She's like, I'm so done. And then Chanel number 1 is like, no you're not, you either dressed up or there's the door. And then of course Hester, aka Chanel number 6, is like, there's the door, like yelling after her. It was really funny. And Chanel number 5 leaves. She goes out the door. And then I don't know if this is new or maybe I just didn't notice it, but was there a new theme song? Like, has that been in the past episodes? I really don't remember seeing a theme song, but it was a theme. But then at the end of the theme, what's his name? Pete? Is that his name? We're gonna call him Pete. He was like laying down, like maybe is it in a coffin or something, and he looks like scared, and he looks at the camera, he like winks, and it's like, oh my gosh, he knows something. He knows something. So we cut to the girls, and a lot of the guys that are like in Chad's fraternity, are they a fraternity or just a golf club? Well, they're gonna be a fraternity today. They're all sitting in the Kappa Kappa Tau living room, and then Dean Munch is talking to them. And then she tells him that she's canceling Halloween, she's shutting campus down, and they have a curfew on Halloween night because she doesn't want people to die, but she really doesn't care. Like, Cheryl's like, oh my gosh, my party! And then everyone's like, no, it's not fair. And then Chad Radwell, he has to get up and say his little speech. He's talking about courage and just saying a whole bunch of random stuff that doesn't really make sense. It's just really random. And then Dean Munch looks at him and she's like, how did you get into this school? And then he winks at her because everyone knows they're sleeping together. Well, not everybody, but we know they're sleeping together. And then one thing I noticed, I thought the guy with the sawed off arms, I thought he died because like blood loss because his arms were off. But he was sitting there in the living room too. He was alive without his arms. I said, okay, you're a survivor. You're a survivor. So D Munch doesn't really care about Chad's speech or any of that. She's like, well, whatever, your pumpkin patch is still canceled. I don't care. Sorry, not sorry. And then she was having a little hissy fit. And you know, in the last episode, which is what I didn't recap, Hester and Chad started having like a little thing, having a little fling because they both like enjoy dead people and like cemeteries and like creepy gory stuff, and so they kind of bonded over that and they have like a little fling. And so like Chad like yells at her and he's like, hey Hester, nice boobs, and she's like and like really excited, and then Chanel's like looking at them like, what in the world? So we switch over to Chanel number 5. Now she's in the kitchen baking cookies, and Hester comes in and asks her what she's doing. She's like, I'm baking cookies, and then she's like, I'm baking toenail cookies, and has like a little like a bowl full of toenails. And she's like going insane and like chopping up like the little cookie cutter like on the dough like extra hard. And she's like, I'm gonna give them to those little trick-or-treaters and blah blah blah. And then Hester is like, why would you punish the children? Why don't you punish Chanel? So pretty much Hester's being like a double agent right now. Like she's really manipulative. Like she's a little, not even a little, she's a lot psycho. So both Chanel number 5 and Hester go into Candle Girl's room. I think her name is Jennifer. I call her Candle Girl. They go into her room and she has this like weird giant ant farm like all on her walls, like connected little farms, and they have like little like tubes connecting each, and she's like wearing this little ant mask and stuff. It's kind of creepy. So Hester and Chanel number 5 are trying to convince her to vote for Zayday because they're like, well, you can get like a spot as treasurer. Zayday's more nice. We don't want Chanel in office and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, well, why? Like, she's like, Zayday's not going to win because it's going to be even vote for Chanel and even vote for Zayday. The way that the girls are split, she was like, if it's a tie, then the reigning president gets to continue being president. Then Chanel number 5 pulls out all the stops, and she's like, well, you know, Chanel has these like super expensive candles or whatever they're called, and she's like, she only burns them once and then throws them out because they're used. And of course Jennifer's like, what that's a waste of candles. So they went and like found the candles in her closet. They were like on a pile in the floor, and so she like took the candles and she's like, I'm voting for Zayday. So we switch over to a classroom scene with Chanel. She's sitting there with some guy, as an Asian guy. She's like, he's my Asian. He's not enrolled in the school, so I'm not cheating. And then the guy's like, the teacher, he's like, you can't do that. Like, that's against policy. She's like, you must not know who I am. I'm going to call my dad and have you fired. And so she's calling her dad, and then like a police or like detective or somebody comes in and is like, hey, we need Chanel, what's her face? And so he pointed her out. And then he came up to her and he was like, Chanel, you're under the arrest for the murder of Mrs. Bean. Ugh. So she's like super like embarrassed, and she like looks over like while she's getting walked out by the police, and she sees all the Chanels and the other girls like from the house like sitting there just looking at her like mean mugging her. So we come back and we see Zayday sitting on this like red like couch looking beanbag kind of chair, and she wakes up and she starts screaming for help, and then she looks up and it's like a cellar door like right above her, and then it shows the Red Devil like looking down into the cellar, like down into the basement, but it's like, it looks like it's floors below, like it's not even like just one floor underneath. It looks like it's like a full like drop, like she cannot climb up, like he cannot jump down, like it is a gap. Meanwhile, the girls are all eating invisible food because you know they don't eat on this show. I couldn't do that. I couldn't be a capital. I like my food. I gotta eat. Ooh, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. But anyway, so they're eating their invisible food, and then Grace comes in with Pete, and she's like, y'all, like, why are we not looking for Zayday? Like, nobody's looking for Zayday. And they're like, well, she should prove herself and get out by herself, and then that'll be a great position for her campaign to run for president. Like, they're saying all this like crazy stuff, and Grace is like, are you serious? I'm going to get Zayday. So now we see Grace's dad. What is his name? I don't even know his name. I'll just call him Grace's dad. And Gigi, and they're like sitting there and like, you know, doing their little thing. And then Grace walks in and she's like, oh my gosh, and she just like stands there like, oh, I don't know, if that was me and like I saw my parents, I would like cry and like run out and like throw up somewhere. Probably like right outside the door because I wouldn't be able to hold it. Like, ugh. And before y'all in the comments, well, how do you think your parents made you? Well, first off, that was 22 years ago, they're getting a little up there in age. I don't want to think about that. Let me stop. Move on. Moving on. She tells her dad, she's like, yeah, we need to look for Zayday. And then, what's her face? Gigi doesn't really look concerned. But we saw Gigi in the last episode at the very end. She's like the screaming lady of that, like, abandoned house. It's really, really weird because we don't really know what the screaming lady does. But there's supposedly, like, a haunted house. And, like, supposedly it's just, like, a crazy things happen there. And it turns out that Gigi is actually the one who lives there. Fast forward to Chanel in jail. She makes friends with 3 of the jailmates, and then one of them is like one of her Instagram followers who got a gift for Chanel Halloween the past year. So they're like, oh my gosh, we're your friends, we're gonna take care of you, we're gonna hold you down, blah blah blah. And she's like, oh my gosh, yes, we're friends. And then all of a sudden she finds out she makes bail. She's like, okay, bye losers, and she like leaves. It turns out Chanel number 3 and Predatory Les got the money to, well, I guess Chanel number 3 got it by herself, but Predatory Les came with her, and they bailed her out of jail. Now we're switching to a scene where Denise Hempfield and Dean Munch are like talking about how they both have had sex with Chad. Like they're both involved with him, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's amazing, and they're sitting there like bonding over it. Weird. And then Grace, Pete, and Grace's dad and Gigi come in, and they're like, oh, we have to find Zayday, like help us find Zayday. And then Denise is like, she's still the killer, she's had a chainsaw under her bed. And Grace is like, she's not the killer. And Denise is like, yes, she is, but I'll help you find her so that we can find the killer. So they decide to go looking for Zayday, and Dean Munch like has this like weird face because she found out that Gigi and Grace's dad are a thing, and she has a thing for Grace's dad. Like she has a huge crush on him, and she's mad because she didn't get him. So now we're back in the Kappa Kappa Tau house, and Chanel number 5 is dressed up in Chanel number 1's costume. Jennifer and Hester told Chanel number 1 that Chanel number 5 was the one who told on her, and that's how she got arrested. Chanel then tells Chanel number 5, like, I know what you did. You need to go out in the pumpkin patch and get it ready for tonight. I don't care if there's a curfew. I don't care if the killer's out. You're going out there. Sorry, y'all, I had to turn on my light. It's getting really dark. It's only 7. It's 6:57 and it's already getting dark. Ugh. It usually doesn't get dark till like 8, but of course it's about to be fall, winter. Anyway, so Chanel ends up having to go, Chanel number 5 ends up having to go out in the pumpkin patch. But before we see her out there, we switch back to the whole crew with Denise, Grace, Pete, Grace's dad, and Gigi. And they end up using the Find My iPhone app to find Zayday's iPhone. So they all get in a car and they head over to the lair. So Chanel number 5 is out in the little pumpkin patch corn maze thing, and she is with 2 of her, like her 2 boyfriends or whatever. They're twins, Roger and Dodger, and they are all like doing the little lights or whatever. And then like a weird thing, like Roger and Dodger are like, okay, let's leave, and so they like walk away. But then the red devil comes and Chanel number 5 screams, and then they run back, which is kind of weird. It was a weird thing I kind of noticed. So they're all like screaming or whatever, and they end up running into the maze, which is like the dumbest thing to do, running into a maze when there's a person trying to kill you. Then the twins stop, like in the middle of running from this red devil with a crazy like weapon, like trying to murder you. They stop and they're like, Chanel number 5, you need to pick one of us. And she's like, what? They're like, you need to pick one of us. You can't like keep having both of us. Like we're not a one person. You have to choose one. And she's like, oh, are you serious right now? They're like, yes. So she ends up choosing Roger. And so her and Roger run off, and Dodger goes the other way. And of course, Dodger gets murdered. So switching back to the whole crew looking for Zayday, they decide, of course, to split up because that's what everybody does in scary movies, and that's how they die. Anyway, so Gigi and Denise go together, and then Pete, Grace, and Grace's dad are on a team. So Grace is like looking through the layers. She's like touching everything. Like, girl, don't you touch that stuff. Your fingerprints gonna be on it. And they go say you the red devil. You better stop. But she was touching everything, and she finds the cellar and like opens it up. She's like, Zayday! Sorry, y'all, I had to go get my light because it's like super, super dark at 7 o'clock, and I don't like it at all. Because I like my natural light. I like my natural lighting. This video is just all over the place. Y'all just gonna have to forgive me. I don't have any makeup on. My nose is super stuffed. I'm probably snotting. I probably have boogers in my nose, and you're probably like, ew, this girl is crazy. Like, she's gross, ill. But I promise, this isn't every day for me. This is today. Anyway, Denise and Gigi are in a room full of like weapons. It's kind of like almost like his like torture room, seems like. There's like a table in there, probably where he lays the victims and like cuts out stuff and bleh. So Denise is like, it kind of smells in here. It smells like booty, and it kind of makes me want to fart. It's just like, if I fart, like, don't tell anybody, Gigi. And she's just like, okay. And then all of a sudden the lights go out, and the Red Devil has these like night vision goggles, so he can see perfectly. He can see everybody, but they can't see him, but they can like kind of hear him. So Denise like grabs her taser. She accidentally tases Gigi in the boob, right in the boob, and Gigi's like, ouch, my boob. And so she tases go like straight ahead and gets the Red Devil. So he's on the floor, and then Grace finds a little like thing to turn the lights back on. So she turns the lights on, and then Denise and Gigi see the Red Devil on the floor, and Denise is like, I want to go get everybody else, make sure they're okay. And Gigi's like, okay. So she goes up there, tells them we got the Red Devil, it got tased, and blah blah blah. So they all run back downstairs, and the Red Devil is gone. And Gigi's like, he hit me with a bat and then ran away. And obviously if she got hit with a bat, she would probably be kind of hurt, like a bat. Like people die from getting hit with a bat. But she's like, oh, my boob. Like, whatever he hit would probably be worse than your boob. So Gigi and Grace have a bonding moment because Grace hasn't really seen her dad date anybody, and he hasn't dated anyone since her mother passed. So she's like, well, I'm glad it's somebody I know at least, you know. Even though before she was like, I can't believe it's somebody I know. But she kind of like got over it. It was like, you know, it's not going to be a bad thing. It'll be good. So we switch back to the Kappa Kappa Tau house where the girls are about to vote. And Chanel's trying to like rush the vote because Zayday is still missing and Grace isn't there. She's like, well, we're going to do it out anyway because I want to win. So as soon as they start grabbing their marbles to vote, Zayday comes inside the house. She talks about the little cellar that she was in, and she talks about how like the Red Devil would like send her down treats and stuff. And one day he like sent a ladder down, and so she climbed up in the ladder, and then he was like trying to like have dinner with her. Like he was like acting like really nice, and they end up having Oakland nachos. Those looked really good though. And that's supposedly Zayday's favorite food. So he was like really trying to win her over, but she ends up stabbing him in the hand with a fork and escaping. And that is how she got out and made it all the way back to the house. But she looks like really put together though, like for being held captive for a couple days. So then Chanel #1 is like, okay, we'll hurry up. We're gonna vote anyway. We're about to vote, blah, 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 before Grace gets back. And then Grace comes in and is like, I'm here. And she's like, she's telling the truth. I saw everything. I saw the lair. I saw it, blah, blah, blah. And so her and Zayday run and like give each other a hug. And then they start to vote. So then we go to the final scene of the episode where Gigi is walking, I guess on campus somewhere, just kind of like walking around, and you see the Red Devil following her, and she's like not even bothered really. And then she like stops and like by like a little pillar, and the Red Devil like stops and like looks at her, and she's like, you're late. And then she goes, he's gotta go. And then I don't know who she's talking about, like who's she talking about. And then she talks about her salad date, talking about how she's got a date now, and I don't know if that means the dad's gotta go or what, but it's kind of creepy. So that is it. That was last night's episode of Scream Queens. What did you guys think of the episode? What was your favorite moment last night? And what are you looking forward to? I want to know. So definitely leave me a comment down below. And yeah. Also, if you guys want me to continue doing this weekly, let me know. Next week, I will have my face done and I won't be like sick. Hopefully, I better not be sick next week. I will cry and y'all will see my eyes all puffy. They're probably puffy right now. Anyway, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. I'm also thinking of doing other recaps for other shows. So if you guys have any shows that y'all want me to give my rendition of, let me know those in the comments below as well. And yeah, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. That way I know you guys want me to do more of them. And don't forget to subscribe so you can see the next one. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye! So today we are going to be talking about Scream Queens. It premiered last night on Fox, and y'all, it was juicy. Now, if you've been watching my past videos, then you know that I was super excited for this show because while PLL is on a